Lots of top prospects working out for the Charlotte Hornets in the next few days going into Tuesday. We discussed that. Plus, David Walker gives us a Shooting Stars review all today on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
We're Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free. We're available anywhere you get your pods. That does include YouTube, and today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. You can download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. That's Doug Branson. You can find his Substack on his website, everyhornetsboxscore.com. And that's David Walker for the second straight day. Yesterday, he was the ace of lace. Today, he is the secretary of Scoot. We're changing it up. He has been big time Scoot fighting for us on Twitter. We appreciate it. David, also, thanks for making yourself available for 2 straight days because of the mishap that happened yesterday.
Absolutely, guys. I hope you noticed my trusty train conductor hat. It barely fits in the frame here, but I was very excited to get it. I know Doug's a big fan of this. This is the locker room hat for the Nuggets. But it's huge. It's out there. It's very we're here.
Train conductor is good. Choo-choo. Yeah, it's good. It's a Nuggets hat. I always love hats that are NBA Finals hats before the NBA Finals are over.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a participation hat. I enjoy that. It's great.
It is a good one. The 1992 NBA Finals hat you had on yesterday was also great. So that was just the classic logo. So you'll have to bring that one back for us when my mic works in a double box setting. But we're here. We're moving past problems. I put out the tweet. You can go reference it if you want to, at Walker Mail, at Doug Branson LOH, at David B. Walker. So we could have talked about something else until we got some big old news yesterday from Jake Fischer. By the way, we're going fishing on WFNZ on Friday, too.
Ooh.
We got a big one. We do. We got a big one. So Jake Fischer revealed during, I guess, it was like in the afternoon yesterday, the Charlotte Hornets are going to be working out the Thompson twins on Thursday. So one day from now, they'll be working out Amen, Asar Thompson, Thursday. Sunday, Scoot Henderson. Scoot Sunday, baby.
Scooting it on Sunday.
I hope you observe, because we do. Scoot Sunday. We observe that here on Locked On Hornets. And then Tuesday, that'll be the last of the huge workouts. That'll be Brandon Miller on Tuesday. And so really within a week's worth of time, you're going to take care of the top 3-4 prospects not named Victor Wembanyama. David, I'll start with you. How excited are you that we're going to get some workout intel, some of the rumors floating about from KOC, Jonathan Givony, Jake Fischer? It's coming, baby. Yeah. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I am disappointed they're not bringing Wemby in. I feel like they're not doing their due diligence on that front, but I'll give them a pass. Maybe the scheduling, I know how it can be. Yeah, man, we desperately need something new in the news cycle. So these workouts are going to help a lot. And really, they're going to tell us a lot too, right? I think, some people raise eyebrows that the Thompson twins and other folks are coming in to work out. But you look at the if you follow it this week, they're bringing a ton of guys in to work out. And they usually do, right? I mean, that's what they say about the Hornets. They usually have an open door policy when it comes to working guys out. So yeah, I mean, we need some new things to talk about. We need to hear. I hope, do we think we will hear? Will we get any sort of indication on it was a good interview? I don't think we'll get very much of anything other than if there's some observers in the gym that say somebody crushed a workout. But the Hornets, they're not giving us anything. They're not giving anyone anything, which is why we keep getting the same recycled thoughts around what they're going to do. So we need something new. These workouts will be good.
Doug, I don't know about you, but I bet we get some pretty heavy, oh my God, Scoot just destroyed the workout analysis. I bet we get some of that.
We'll see. I was laughing at David Walker saying that the Hornets have an open door policy when it comes to working out. They certainly open the door. It's just not a lot of players decide to go in it typically. But the Hornets are in the number 2 spot. And so, yeah, they can really host anyone they want outside of Wemby, including the Thompson twins, which surprises me. And I think the only thing it tells you is that the Hornets are being prepared for anything, including possibly trading down into the 3rd or 4th slot, possibly trading down as far as 6. We know that they've also been mentioned as participants in workouts that they did not host, but that they've been involved in. Scouts, at least for Anthony Black, which would be in the 6 to 10 range. So, I think the Hornets are staying prepared for any kind of trade scenario that could present itself. I hope that they would make all of those players available for interviews afterwards. The most interesting one there would be to hear more from Brandon Miller, because I don't think that we know that reportedly teams were not satisfied with Brandon Miller's answers about the incident that took place while he was at Alabama. We know that teams weren't satisfied, but also I think his answers to the media were a little strange as well, and a little kind of cagey, I guess. And so, it'd be interesting to see him back in front of cameras having to answer more tough questions on that and how he deals with it. But I'd also like to hear from Scoot as well on why he feels like that Charlotte would be a great situation for him, why he feels like he should be the number 2 pick.
So a couple of things real quickly. One, the Thompson twins work out with the Hornets on Friday. I said Thursday. So it's Friday, Sunday is Scoot, and then Brandon Miller is Tuesday. Another thing here is that, Doug, you have another announcement. You announced that we had the draft site. You were going to come to Charlotte for it. You announced that on Friday, but now you have another announcement. Does this affect me in any way that I don't know? What's the announcement going to be?
Why would you assume that it affects? Why you're selfish? Okay, I'm just going to say that you got a big head.
True.
You work for WFNZ, and you come in here and you think everything's about you. Number one. Number two, this is about me. The big announcement, and this is kind of a maybe announcement. I'm working on possibly maybe attending the NBA draft as a representative of Locked On. So we'll see. Again, this is all tentative. I don't know. We'll still do the live show, but I may be remoting in from New York, from the Barclays Center. We got to see.
Yeah.
I've got a refundable flight.
As difficult as possible, for sure.
I've got a refundable flight to New York, so we'll see. I accidentally booked my hotel non-refundable in Charlotte, so if anyone needs just a night away from the kids, let me know. I'll hook you up.
I'll take that. Yeah. We can work that out. That's no problem. Yeah,
the after party at the Fairfield Inn.
Yeah.
Love it, man. So I have so many questions. We need to move on to other topics, but I want to dissect.
Ask them later in the show. I'm an open book.
I know. That'll be fun. All right, last thing. David, you mentioned there were a lot of guys coming in, working out for the Hornets. Jake Fischer mentioned that this is something they've always done. They've always had a bigger pool of guys come in to the organization. But it makes sense because you have your second overall selection. Doug talked about the possibility of trading down just to be ready. It's just doing the whole due diligence thing. But you also have that window 27 through 41. You could package some of those selections, move up. Yeah, the Thompson twins are right in the area of where you would expect them to least likely pick. But they do have this wide range of outcomes that you could have by packaging some of these selections, moving up, moving back. So it makes sense to me. It makes sense entirely that the Hornets would be doing this.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what kind of package. If somebody comes through with like a Godfather offer, shout out Danny Ainge, below, a couple picks down, you need to know, you need to have some evaluation on those other guys. So is it weird that the Thompson twins come into workouts and together and no one else does? I mean, I know they're twins, and they're related, and but I guess it doesn't. It's just like, I guess it would be weird if I guess it would be weird if they did it separately, but everybody else is doing it separately. Anyway, just a thought. If they could draft both of them, I mean, maybe.
Doug, as long as they get the right twin, right?
Well, that's right. I mean, you got another shot here, so you can't blow this shot. You've got to get the right twin. You cannot blow this. But so if you want me to do a little prospect name tea leaf reading, I could do that because they've hosted a lot of names, and I think we can glean some information. It's not certainty, but I think you can glean some information when you put all the names together. And the information that I glean from it is that they have hosted a lot of names that would be available in the second round, and they've got a lot of second-round picks. They haven't hosted a lot of people that I would consider contenders for that 27th pick. They have hosted a few, Strother and Omax Prosper most recently.
Sasser too, yeah.
And Sasser, that's right, getting sassy. And I think that means that if there's a player that they really loved in that workout that's available at 27, they might make the pick, but most likely that pick is getting packaged for something, but I don't think that something is moving up in the draft because I haven't seen them host any names in that sort of middle ground where you could trade up, sort of late lottery or past that. So I don't expect that to happen. I think the more likely scenario is packaging that 27th pick for future assets.
Yeah, let's talk a little more about that and the Brandon Miller workout coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Don't go to sleep on the Hornets just yet.
We got to see Scoot in Portland. We got to see a workout released by Brandon Miller, not with a team, just on his own with a couple of his friends, but we can dissect that as well because, of course, it's out there for us to dissect. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. It is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event, and you can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, all of those games, but not just sporting events, also concerts, comedy, theater, and even more than that. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. You can get images of your seat too before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Brandon Miller coming up next. Locked On Hornets.
Is Locked On Hornets.
This says the Hornets received 3 votes for their handling of James Borrego, who was viewed as doing a good job the past couple of years before Charlotte fired him after the season. Then hire him. No one's hired him. These GMs are like, oh, we love James Borrego. Oh, you going to hire him? I don't think so. He got blown out twice in playing. You can't hire that guy.
It's time for more of the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Doug, it finally happened. He did get hired. It took a while.
Shout out.
We can't retire the bump, though. It still needs to live on.
Well, he didn't get hired as a head coach, so.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
so,
but seriously, congrats to Borrego. I think he's a good coach. That bite that you just heard was more about people screaming at the top of their lungs that the Hornets, made a huge mistake and that someone was going to scoop Borrego up, because that's what people always say. And sometimes it does happen. It happened with Clifford, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now he is working with the New Orleans Pelicans, by the way, for those that don't know.
Of course.
They take everything. They take everything that we loved at some point.
Yeah, we like James Borrego a decent amount. All right, Doug, we did not get to a question you had at the beginning of the show. What did you have for us today?
I have a very important question, one that I'm curious about, and I have an answer to. So really, I'm asking this question so that I can tell you my answer, but I'll pretend like I'm curious about your answers as well. And the question is this, and we'll start with the Secretary of Scoot, David Walker. David, why are you so confident that the Hornets are going to take Scoot number 2 overall, despite all of the mock draft evidence? I mean, mock draft after mock draft coming out, and not the weird mock drafts, but the serious mock drafts coming out saying all indications, seem to point to the Hornets taking Miller. Why are you so confident that the Hornets are going to take Scoot number 2?
Well, confident may be a touch overstating it, but yeah, and I do feel like there's I feel like there's a Scoot wave. There's a Scoot wave that's cresting. You're starting to see a few more mocks leak out and justify it with just common sense. And I think at the end of the day, when they get Scoot in here, when he interviews, from everything we've seen to the Bleacher Report, video series, his workout, all his interviews, the fact that he's been a pro for 2 years already, I think he's going to impress in those workouts and in the interviews. And, for all of Brandon Miller's pluses, there are still some question marks. There are some off the court stuff. I just see that being a bigger hurdle for the folks in the front office to get over than I think some people are giving credence to, especially when you consider bringing Miles back in. So I think when you add it all up, at the end of the day, anybody who's feeling like Scoot is going to be that pick is basing it off of, we've watched Scoot play. He's clear-cut the talent that we think will be an all-star, and I think the Hornets will eventually come to that conclusion as well. At the end of the day, they Mitch has gone for adding talent as of late, and not afraid to go young. So I think they'll see all the positives and they'll just start to outweigh everything that comes with the Brandon Miller package.
That's all well and good, David. That's not the right answer, though. Walker, do you have the right answer? Do you know why? Really, this is all about me. Do you know why I'm so confident? Can you guess why I'm so confident that the Hornets are going to take Scoot despite all of the evidence to the contrary?
Yeah, I'll give you 2 reasons for me. One, we've already referenced last year where Jonathan Givony, everybody was just so damn sure that Jabari Smith was going to go number 1, and then the Orlando Magic pull a fast one when in reality it was just they weren't going to reveal who they wanted to take number 1. It was all outside sources, and then eventually they take Paolo Banchero. But I will also, in my second point, read you a series of tweets taking place within a couple of weeks within each other. From Kevin O'Connor, who, by the way, has the Charlotte Hornets taking Brandon Miller at number 2 overall. In 2020, this was the tweet from Kevin O'Connor.
2020.
Receipts.
League sources believe LaMelo Ball could fall out of the top 3 in the NBA draft. 2 weeks later, Kevin O'Connor reports if the Charlotte Hornets keep their number 3 overall pick, Michael Jordan has given his stamp of approval to draft LaMelo Ball via who? That's right, Kevin O'Connor. By the way, not to just bleep on KOC, there were a couple of other reports out there that the Charlotte Hornets were not going to take LaMelo, and then they took LaMelo number 3. So those are a couple of reasons that I can be somewhat confident that at least it's not decided on Brandon Miller, and the door to select Scoot is still wide open.
It's a great answer. Nobody knows anything. I've been trying to yell it from the rooftops anytime I've gotten in front of a microphone. Nobody knows anything about this draft process, including the people that are in the war rooms. They don't know anything. They're just trying to give their best guesses on this stuff. We pretend that there's some right answer. There's not a right answer. There's just your best estimation as to what you feel like is going to be the best player for your team. So those are all great answers, but not the right answer. The correct answer is on why you should be so confident that the Hornets are going to take Scoot number 2 instead of Brandon Miller is because in the season of draft rumor and innuendo and smoke and mirrors, it's not about what you hear. It's not about what you read. It's about what you don't hear. It's about what you're not reading. And what you're not hearing and not reading is any other team trying to get up there to the number 2 or number 3 spot to select Brandon Miller. Nobody's talking about that. There have been multiple reports of teams, the Rockets, the Pistons, the Pacers, that are interested, salivating at the opportunity to take Scoot at number 3, to grab Portland's pick if the Hornets do indeed take Miller. But nobody's talking about that for Miller. And so I think if the Hornets are smart, they will take the guy that everybody else wants. And that's the correct answer.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Why are no Portland talk trading up or swapping, right? If Miller would be a great fit here, wouldn't he be a fantastic fit in Portland?
Agreed. Yes, I was laughing because Doug was very dramatically getting swiggy with it. He had his eyes wide open like this.
I've been prepping that rant all morning.
But yeah, even Mavs Draft, our guy, he was kind of talking to something similar about, okay, well, one, you would think that they'd want to trade up for Brandon Miller at 3 as well. But with all the fit conversation saying that Scoot and LaMelo don't fit next to each other, we have the same convo at 3 with Portland, with them having Damian Lillard. And even if you trade Dame, then you have Anthony Simons and Scoot. And are those 2 guys that you would like to put alongside in the backcourt because it hasn't, I guess, worked out as much in Portland? Yeah, still the same question could be applied there. All right, let's actually get to the Brandon Miller video and the Shooting Stars review coming up next. One more segment to go. Coming up next, Locked On Hornets.
Deep tease.
Don't go to sleep on the Hornets just yet.
Yes, he gave it to us yesterday. You didn't hear it because I took the episode down within a matter of 3 minutes, but he's back to give you another Shooting Stars review. Scoot Henderson, he's the star, I guess, with the other guy that plays LeBron James as well. We'll get to that breakdown in just a moment. This episode, it is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a fantasy sports app or website where you can pick 2 to 6 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on really any entry. There's no competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available, and they offer projections on really any sport you watch. And I'm telling you, name any sport, they offer projections instructions on it. Just go check it out for yourself. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. Scrolling. Yep, pickleball odds right here. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks gives you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks gives you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Yeah, they have that too, Doug. We'll talk about more of this. Yep, they have badminton as well. We'll talk about more sports that PrizePicks offers coming up next.
Skee ball.
Yep. Brandon Miller released his workout video here, Doug. I know you saw it with it not being for a team, not for Portland like Scoot had, where everybody was losing their mind. Brandon Miller instead released it in like a random gym, just kind of, basically off season, right? Like Brandon Miller, it should have had the tag best shape of his life. It was the off season vids that we get every single year for some players that are already in the NBA, but instead we got it for Brandon Miller here. What did you notice from the workout video? Any thoughts?
I'm going to be fair here to Brandon Miller because I think the same thing about that video as I do the video that we got from Portland. It's all manicured. We're seeing what you want us to see. And I'm no training video workout expert. I mean, it looked like his shot is locked in. We knew that. I mean, Brandon Miller shoots. It looked like he needs to put some weight on and get into the training room. And we know he's, dealt with mono after the season, I guess. And so that's put him behind probably where he probably would want his body to be at this point heading into the draft process. But it's all fine. I know for Brandon, it's not about training video. I think he had to get something out there after the Scoot video stuff, but it's not training video that people are worried about. It's what is he going to say behind closed doors about what happened at Alabama?
Yeah, 100%.
I am a bit of a cinephile, so I'll give them a couple pointers. One, get a handy cam or maybe like a tripod of some sort.
Steadicam, something.
Steadicam was just bouncing a little bit all over the place. Also, two, if you're comparing it with the Scoot video, which I love this, by the way, I love the competitive nature of this. They put something out, now we got to put something out. You gotta get a little more uniform in the practice outfit, I think, just because Scoot's at Portland and he's looking swole and he's got his uniform on. Brandon just had his regular practice stuff on.
You gotta get the bird dogs. You gotta put the bird dogs on.
Yeah. Also, you got to take the misses out, man. You can't show corner shots not going in. Come on, 4 for 4 is 4 for 4.
Yeah, the misses. Yeah, it's almost like you are trying to make it look so real that we even include the misses, but it's like, no, we don't. Yeah, you don't want to show some of the flaws in the game. Oh, we missed it. Now we don't want to take them anymore. All right, since you admittedly called yourself a cinephile, what can you tell us about Shooting Stars? I guess it's not a documentary, but it's just like this movie about LeBron James, and Scoot Henderson is in it as well, David.
Yes. Oh, it's a major motion picture. I mean, it's where it needs to be on Peacock, but it is a film. It's the story of LeBron James and his crew. It's based on the book by LeBron James and Buzz Bissinger called Shooting Stars. And it follows LeBron from basically like 8th, 9th grade up through high school into the draft and kind of their story and his boys. And it's for a basketball movie. I do need Doug to weigh in on this, but for a basketball movie, it is a good watch. The guy that plays LeBron actually gives off some LeBron vibes. I mean, I think that was a good choice. He's a 5-star. He's going to Oregon. He is a basketball player, which helps this. What Mookie Cook, right?
Mookie Cook. Yeah,
Mookie,
it's a great name.
That's a great name.
Not Mookie Wilson, as I said yesterday. And then our guy from Stranger Things, Doug, Caleb, I believe. He plays Drew Joyce. And then our boy, Scoot plays Romeo Travis. He comes in maybe midway through. I think it's a hairpiece on.
Is he the bad guy? Is he the bad guy in the movie?
Well, he comes
at first, right?
He's a mini boss. Oh yeah, classic mini boss turned good guy. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's worth a watch. And the thing that was weird was at one point he looks directly at the camera, winks, and says "Go Hornets," which didn't seem to fit.
Awesome.
Yeah, which I was like,
wow.
I mean, all right, I guess, but I didn't.
Cool.
I Wikipedia'd that real quick and haven't seen anything on that. But yeah, so I mean, I'll give it a 1 thumbs up. I can't go 2 thumbs. It's better than the new White Men Can't Jump, which is a low bar. But a fun watch and a fun, trip through LeBron's history.
I'd be really worried if Jack Harlow gave a wink to the camera and said, "Go Hornets." At that point, I'm really worried. I don't want any part of that. Much rather Scoot. Any thoughts, Doug? Are you going to give this a check out?
Well, I know, but are you taking Scoot Henderson's what was the name of his character, or not character, but the person that he was portraying?
Romeo Travis.
Are you taking Romeo Travis? Or are you taking Kermit, Anthony Davis's character in the Adam Sandler basketball movie?
Oh man, that's
he was so good.
Question. I will tell you this: they're on par. I mean, that's the line that Anthony Edwards was good in that, and he was playing a fictional character. I thought Scoot was just fine. He held his own with these other actors and hoopers. So since Romeo's a real person, but Anthony Edwards was a fictional NBA, I don't know. That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Let's just hope that Anthony Edwards got in some trouble for some things that he said on a video, and his character was someone that said a lot of derogatory things on the court. So let's just hope that Scoot didn't do anything in that movie that may get him in trouble in the actual real world.
Good guy.
By the way, also too, like Scoot Henderson around Steph Curry in a movie where LeBron James, you would have to imagine, have to sign off on it, and so like he's amidst the stars. That's what he is, and so hopefully he can do that here in Charlotte if they select the number 2. We'll get David out of here. The secretary of Scoot. Find him on Twitter at David B. Walker. Go check out Doug's Substack, everyhornetsboxscore.com, and listen to me on WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free and available anywhere you get your pods. Now make your second listen Game to Game NBA. Every moment, every top performance, every result, Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the league with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NBA, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.